just knocked a table and there's teacups flying in the air, there's plates up there, and we don't know where they're going to land. Is this a crisis for the King, for Andrew, for Sarah Ferguson, because they've lost their titles and now we just don't know how much longer they've got at Royal Lodge?
It's a family crisis. There have been family crises before, but probably nothing as bad as this, because not forgetting we've got Harry and Meghan, which is all part of the family. But it is a family crisis, and it's one of those that only the family can solve. It's no good politicians saying, well, we've got to debate this. What are they going to debate? What are they going to waste time in Parliament on? No, this is something that the family has got to solve, about Andrew's accommodation. What happens to Fergie? Well, Fergie's an individual. She's got to find her own accommodation, unless Andrew wants her to cohabit again. If that being the case, then they can both go to Frogmore Cottage. I think this whole nonsense about suggesting that he's in no position to demand 2 houses. What planet is he on? Quite frankly, he needs to move out, move into Frogmore Cottage, take Fergie with him, and just leave it at that.
Sarah Ferguson, a divorcee, has been living, with Andrew at Royal Lodge for many, many years, supporting each other. Does she deserve a royal property, as it appears we're being told that Adelaide Cottage is in some way in the mix?
No.
Well, she's going to need money. The pair of them are going to need money. And as you pointed out, the danger there, if they are just cast out, you don't know what they might end up doing. You might have a Netflix series at home with the Yorks, or the ex-Yorks. You might have a book similar to The Spare. I mean, if you do cast them out and say you can't have a place in royal security, the King maybe would lose control of what.
Well, and can we take a second to think about the process? The Queen specifically said, I don't want to outlive my dogs. That was something she said. And I think that was just, she was concerned about her dogs not being taken care of the way she would take care of them. So what do Andrew and Fergie do? They go out and buy her puppies after she loses her last dog. And today we have Sarah Ferguson watching her dogs. How much...
And they talk to her every morning.
They talk to her every morning, and she also says Queen Elizabeth's ghosts visits them. But how much of them going out and buying Queen Elizabeth the corgis was so that they would take the corgis in, and then they're like, no, you can't cast us out, we're taking care of the Queen's corgis?
All very calculated.
They actually walk them, or their flunkies walk them at the moment. Andrew's been too depressed to take the dogs out for a walk for a long time. They walk them at Frogmore House, right next to Frogmore Cottage. So Frogmore Cottage would be ideal, because that's where they walk those corgis.
That's the corgis already know the space.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, just move them right on
Why
in.
isn't anyone thinking about the corgis? It's all about Andrew and Sarah. What about the corgis?
Going back to control, there is no such word as controlling Fergie. Fergie will do what Fergie wants to do. And with the blessing of Andrew. You're right, they do need money. Where they get it from, well, they can't tap people around the world, because people around the world are wise to them. So they've got to earn it, or she's got to earn it.
And how do you think Sarah and Andrew are coping? Because we haven't seen them since, I think, October the 3rd.
I think they're shattered. Absolutely shattered. For anybody to have this constant drip feed within the media, not just media, newspapers or magazines, but electronic media. Here we are talking about them, and this is going to go out on YouTube. They are obviously shattered, and they probably don't know how to cope. This is why, allegedly, he is demanding 2 houses, one for him and one for her. Maybe he's tired of her living with him.
I'm just going to pick up on that thing with we talk about the media. It's not just the media. Okay, there are there's things that feed the media. If you think that last Thursday, when we were getting back from Vatican City, there was briefings out to everybody that there was going to be something happening, passing traffic. I mean, I'm not entirely in agreement with what Emily Maitlis is. Emily Maitlis is one of the only people who's actually spoken about this whole debacle. She's not totally furnished with all the facts, but there was meant to be something on Thursday, and it does feel like...
Are you sure about that?
Yes, and it does feel like that pressure is being cranked up. Okay, not just through the media, but through from Royal Lodge, from Buckingham Palace, from sources. It does feel like that it's not just a media story where we're making stuff up, that there is a lot of stuff going behind the scenes, a lot of advanced talks, and it does feel to me that on both sides that they are braced or poised for something to happen on Royal Lodge.
Probably.
What do you think will happen, Dickie? I'm going to put you on a spot. What's going to happen with these two?
That's a very difficult one. Announcements usually sort of come out on a Friday when hopefully everybody's gone home for the weekend. But then they make the late news and they make the weekend papers. I would like to think there is a decision by the end of this week, because it can't go on like this. As Kinsey rightly say, it's putting too much pressure on the royal family. People are diverting their attention from what the royal family do to what the royal family should be doing vis-a-vis Andrew and Fergie. Well, not so much Fergie, but Andrew. So I hope a decision is forthcoming PDQ, because if it's not, it's going to roll on and on and on. And we can't afford to have it rolling on and on and on, because eventually, a monarchy is pretty healthy, but eventually people are going to question the veracity of the monarchy and whether it can cope.
A cutting review of what's happened with Team Sussex this year. Who's had the worst year? Is it the ex-Yorks or the Sussexes?
It's the ex-Yorks.
It's the ex-Yorks.
Yeah, because I know that they don't deserve Royal Lodge, but Royal Lodge became their sanctuary, and that's been disrupted. And now they have to find a new path. And what I will say about Harry and Meghan is that they paid for their own house. So the royal family can't come in and say, we're going to take this Montecito mansion from you. That is their sanctuary and will remain their sanctuary. But I'm sure that Prince Andrew's unsettled with the fact that he's going to have to leave.
He's paid £8.5 million.
That's true. That's true, Dickie. Okay.
The privilege of living in Royal Lodge. And it's really up to the Crown Estate. If he doesn't keep it up to scratch, which is part of the lease agreement, then they can boot him out.
I should have asked earlier, Dickie, do you think he should be booted out of Royal Lodge?
I think he shouldn't have gone there in the first place, because it's far too grand. It was good for late Queen Elizabeth, the Queen Mother, but Andrew didn't need anything so grand. It is grand. It has 90 acres of ground. It's got 30 rooms, 7 bedrooms. She's living one side, he's living the other side. What are they doing in there? The trouble is, Andy's not the brightest bunny on the planet. He's arrogant, he's bumptious, he's rude, and he's entitled. And that's why he's still there.
We're going to try and move on from Andrew, all right, although it's dominated not only the show, but the month of coverage and dominating royal family conversations, I would imagine. And before we do, just a quick word from both of you. Andrew and Harry are called the Dukes of Hazzard. Do you know this behind the scene? You remember the Dukes of Hazzard from the 80s? Which of the Dukes of Hazzard do you think gives the king the greatest headache?
I would say Prince Andrew, because morally there is questionable behavior. He says he did not touch Virginia Giuffre, but I think people feel betrayed by the emails where we see that he lied to us in the BBC interview. I think Prince Harry's actions have been disloyal and reckless to the monarchy, but not as immoral as what Prince Andrew has been accused of.
Well, I think it's time-related, isn't it? Because if you go on Prince Harry, then it's the Oprah interview, the 6 hours of Netflix, the book Spare. That was in a time capsule between 21 and 24. 2025, yes, it's got to be Prince Andrew.
It's quite the head-to-head, isn't it, when you lay out their CV in that way and everything that's been done.
I wouldn't want to write their CVs.